Hello, guys. Me and Connie are back. We are here to tell you about our little shopping experience today and how it went with my reborn toddler. Actually, it went pretty good. We went to a normal, regular department store, and I got pretty lucky because when I got inside the department store, I noticed that there weren't that many people in there. So we just kind of ventured on to the toddler section. And I started looking through some of the toddler dresses, and I came across a dress. I found something that I liked, so um, I went ahead and bought it, only $9.99, and so I really, really got lucky in a summer dress at that. And the place that I bought her dress at was Sears, and so I was very, very happy about that. I have been in there a few times, and they have marked their dresses down quite a bit. And so I'm looking up there periodically to get some of my reborn clothes. And also, I've also checked Baby R Us as well, and have found that they also have some really nice sales on some of the clothes in there. So, being that reborns do fit into regular clothes, periodically I will go to some of the department stores to look for clothes for my reborns. And I'm going to also continue to shop on eBay for reborn clothes because they do make clothes specifically for reborns or dolls or whatever. So I'm going to do both, just whatever fits. And if I can get it at a really good price, I'm going to do that. Um, so anyways, I did have her in a carriage, a baby stroller, actually. And I found that one of the sales clerks was kind of staring at her a little bit, like as she was trying to figure out, is she real or is she not real? What's going on there? But she did, look at her a few times, and I didn't mind. I don't, because I really do not care what people think. But I think she was trying to figure out, I think she did realize after a few minutes that she was indeed a doll. And she just didn't say anything. She just continued on with her job. And the other lady that waited on me, because I did ask her a couple of questions, she looked at the doll and she just pretty much acted like it was a real child. I don't know if she could tell the difference or not. So, and also I did go to the automotive department because I needed something to ask a few questions about my car. And the male um, the person in the mail or the male in the a car automotive department did see her, and he acted like she was just a normal regular baby. He did have a little grin on his face, but he was very, very polite, and did his job. And so I think, people are going to get used to reborns. But to my surprise, I did have an experience with a customer that was in the automotive department, and the customer did see my doll, and he looked at it, and then he looked again at my little baby girl, and he asked me, he was like, what is that? now I'm now and I told him, I said, are you referring to my reborn? And he was like, is that what that is? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's a reborn? And he said, because I wasn't really sure if she was just sick or if it was a doll, or I couldn't really tell. And I was real nice to him because people are going to be concerned. And if, as long as they're nice about it, because they will be a little bit concerned. Some of them can tell that they're dolls, some of them cannot, and some of them are kind of wondering, is it a doll or is it not a doll? But he was polite, so I was polite back, and I did tell him, the truth. It is a reborn baby, and so he came over and he was like, "Can I, look at her? Can I touch her?" And he kind of touched her hand. He was like, "Ooh, I'm scared of that." And I was like, "Well, there's no reason to be scared." And I told him, and he said, "Well, what um, is it exactly?" And I told him these are hybrids. They're dolls that are hybrids. They are kind of like a crossbreed between a regular plastic doll and a human. And what I mean by that is, of course, they don't have any human DNA yet, but what I mean by that is that they look like humans, but they are actually made of vinyl plastic, and some are actually made of silicone, and then some of them have the stuffing in them too. So vinyl and stuffing, cotton, glass beads, they're made out of quite a bit of items that go into them. And so, but the hair that she has on her head is actually human hair. And so that can raise a few eyebrows, but I don't mind because this human hair that she has in her head was for sale. So some of the artists are indeed, instead of using the mohair, some of them are actually going with human hair that they are actually buying off of the markets that are on for sale also. So, but anyways, he was like, the customer, he was a little bit concerned, and he was like, well, because it was him and his son was a teenager. Okay, and I know about the younger generation, they're very, very open, a lot of them. He was the teenage son was very accepting of it. And he was like, he listened to everything and looked at the doll, and he was like, oh, that's cool, that is awesome. And I kind of expected that from the younger generation because a lot of these young people, a lot of them, not all of them, but most of them are pretty open-minded. So I'm pretty accepting. They're not like some of the older generation people out there that are so closed-minded and closed off in a box and just, if you're not doing everything under the mainstream, you're rejected. But the father started to tell me. He said, "I think that's nice," and he said that you're doing your thing. And then he started telling me about his. He got real comfortable with me, I guess, because I was walking around with a doll. So he felt somehow all of a sudden comfortable enough to tell me some of his experiences with some of his girlfriends, and I was like, "Oh Lord." It's amazing how strangers will actually open up to you if they see something about you that kind of brings you at a level where they're real comfortable around you. And sometimes they see things out of the unordinary as a weakness, but or as a way to be like, oh, well, if she is walking around with a doll, she's a pretty open-minded person. So a lot of people feel, oh, well, I could tell her anything. It was kind of a nice experience. A solid stranger telling me about some of his past relationships with some of his girlfriends all of a sudden. So, but what I did like about the experience is that I felt comfortable. I felt that he did accept my reborn daughter, and he did glance at her, and he was like, "That's pretty neat, overall." And he was like, "Well, you're doing what you want to do," and he said, "And I see no problem with that at all." And he was just a real kind person, but at first he did kind of back up a little bit and say, "Ooh, I'm scared of that." But I did let him know that all about reborns. I told him a brief little history about them, and then I told him this is just the beginning because it's going to get a lot more interesting in the years to come. I believe, now this is just my thought, and I'm pretty sure that I'm right, that soon these dolls will be androids. Where they will look very, very much like they do now, except probably a little bit even more human, and they will actually be able to move and to appear like they're breathing and even talk, because we are going to get pretty advanced as the years go by. And I'm expecting probably within 10 years for these dolls to be in Android form. That's what I'm expecting. They're on their way now. There is actually a YouTube video, and I will get back with you guys on it, but I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's some kind of Christian. There's something about Jesus, but it's a Christian doll making company, I think, or the makers of the Reborn dolls have something to do with Christianity. But anyways, they're putting electronic devices in them where they are able to move, and so that is going to be totally awesome. I cannot wait until that day comes, where a beautiful thing like this will be able to talk and move and walk into department stores, and it's not going to be a problem at that point. But right now, they're not there yet, but it's coming. It's coming, because I am pretty sure this is just the beginning. The next step is going to be they're going to be able to move and breathe. I think Ashton Drake is all making dolls now that they're actually able to grab your finger, some of them. Some of them are actually able to breathe. It's just neat that some of the things that they're doing with these dolls. So it's just going to be a matter of time, guys, that these reborn babies are going to be androids. And of course, I will be a big collector and a huge fan when that time comes. But I am always, always, always going to love my reborn dolls, the ones now. And if they turn into androids in the future, I'm going to love them too. And maybe in a few years I can have her an electronic device put in her so that she'll be able to move and see and all that kind of stuff. But right now she's a little stiff, but that's okay because that's the type of dolls that I had as a child, so I'm, fine with it. But I wanted to tell you all about the experience that I had at a nice department store, and I made myself a little friend today. Of course, we didn't exchange numbers or anything like that, but I just thought that the experience was nice. Considering the fact if I had went in there without her, he probably wouldn't have said jack to me. I do not take my reborn dolls out in public so that they will be an attraction for strangers to come up to me, because I really don't like the attention, actually. But if they're nice and they're concerned, or uh, they want to check the doll out, then I'm all for it, as long as they're nice and not trying to laugh and make all these smart aleck remarks. Thank goodness, knock on wood, I have not had that experience yet. But I know how people are, so I'm sure it's coming. But so far, it's been a very positive experience, and going out in public, this will be the third time that I've taken Connie out with me, and so far people are pretty cool with it. And I think that they realize that this is just the beginning. It's going to get very interesting after this point. This is just the beginning. Okay, so with that being said, I am going to end this video today, and actually, let me see if I have enough time to show her dress real quick. So let me just put her down. I'm going to put her up and down right over here on the bed. Okay, and let me see if I actually have enough time to show you all her dress. Let me just kind of pull it out. Alrighty. So as you can see here, let me try to get it because I don't want to. This is the dress for only $9.99, guys, on clearance at the department store. See it? It's got a little sweater for it to hide her little arms, because they are 3/4 vinyl, and then she's the little polka dotted dress, and it's nice. So I'm hoping that's going to fit her, but we'll see. Because I think if it doesn't, I'll just get the next size. I think that was the last dress they had like that, so hopefully it does fit her. I'll probably try it on tonight, and then if it does not, then I'll exchange it for another dress. Okay, so with that being said, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. And also, I wanted to tell reborn mothers out there, for the adult Reborn mothers, go ahead and subscribe because I am looking for other adult reborn parents to um, uh, put their videos up. So comment and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.